Good evening and Happy New Year. I'm Gloria Penner, and welcome to this special edition of San Diego Week. 2009 was quite a year for San Diego. Recession, water rationing, healthcare reform effort, and war. Tonight we're going to talk about the top stories we covered in 2009 and why they'll continue to be important and relevant in 2010. Joining me now are KPBS Metro reporters Alison St. John and Katie Orr, and welcome to both of you. So, Alison, the military was your top pick for 2009, and indeed, the San Diego region is experiencing a boom in the military presence. Where are we seeing that expansion?
Well, we're seeing it in San Diego Bay, where there's a large number of new ships coming. Just this year, 10 new vessels became home-ported in San Diego Bay, and another 10 at least. There's going to be at least another 20 by the year 2014. So that's one place. And then up on Camp Pendleton, there's been this huge investment in infrastructure. A lot of barracks, a lot of money being spent on construction, and a lot more money is going to be spent up there over the next few years.
We talk about a lot of money. What are we talking about?
Well, the figures of $5 billion over a few years have been thrown around. I think $700 million was mentioned for earlier this year, with another $900 million to be spent next year. And over the whole Navy region Southwest, $5 billion. And that wasn't even including stimulus money. There may even be more on top of that.
So as the war in Iraq continues and the expansion in Afghanistan, what impacts will that have on the local military personnel and their families?
Well, I think one of the things is, these deployments that keep coming around and there's no sign of any respite. The families are inured to the fact that their loved ones are going and coming. They're not coming back for good. They're going to hope to get longer dwell times. That's the efforts. They're expanding the Marines right now to try to give people longer dwell times. That means the time at home. But I haven't heard many families saying that they've actually seen that. And then, of course, the VA Medical Center in La Jolla is having to deal with more of the returned people who were wounded. They've had 20,000 people enroll since 2003, and they're dealing with 8,000 vets right now.
So I'm sure those stories will continue on through 2010. All right, so Katie, we turn now to from the military in San Diego to City Hall in San Diego for your top story, which is San Diego's record-breaking budget deficit. How bad was it?
Well, pretty bad. The mayor's office put the deficit at $179 million, and the independent budget analyst put the deficit closer to $200 million. So those are pretty big figures.
Why? What made such a big deficit?
Well, critics of City Hall say that the city spends too much money. It's living outside its means, basically. Also, the city has a structural budget problem where it constantly spends more than it takes in. The mayor says, though, it's really just the poor economy. Tax revenues are down, and the city has suffered some investment losses, significant investment losses.
So we hear the word deficit, but truly, what does it mean to us? How does it impact city services?
Well, this time around, city services really were impacted. The public has been shielded a bit in the past, but we are seeing a reduction in lifeguard services, fewer library hours. They're cutting some fire companies at firehouses with 2 companies. 200 city positions that were filled have been eliminated. So this time around, the services really did take a hit.
And so there is a smaller city staff. Is that what you're saying? Can we expect it to shrink even more?
Yes, and I asked Jay Goldstone, the city's chief operating officer, what that meant, and he said, fewer city workers means fewer city services for the public.
All right, I'm going to ask both of you what you're going to be keeping your eye on in terms of what's ahead in 2010. What are you going to be looking at?
Well, people should start paying attention to talk about possible fees for trash collection and stormwater. There is a revenue commission in place now that's going to look at ways the city can generate more money, and I think those are going to be some of the things that they suggest.
Okay, I'm going to remember that in the year ahead. What about you, Alison? What are you going to keep your eye on?
Well, in terms of the military, I think one of the things is the veterans' families, who I think are one of the most vulnerable members of our population, because they lose a lot of the benefits that the active duty military have once the active duty member is discharged. And then the other thing is that at the county level, I'm very interested in how the planning process is going to be going next year as they start to figure out where to put all these extra people in the backcountry.
Yeah, we'll all be watching that. Thank you very much, Alison St. John, Katie Orr.